right now, listening to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel.
Lately, Mr. Erdogan, Turkey's Prime Minister, had an interesting thing he did. He said in Hebrew that we Jews should go according to our Bible, and he said in Hebrew, Lo tirtzach, don't murder. You shall not murder. But I want to ask you, Erdogan, how many Kurds did you murder in the last month? I want to ask you, Mr. Erdogan, how come you have the nerve to accuse Israel in occupying? You are occupying Cyprus for 63 years. So how come you are accusing us of occupying while you are occupying Cyprus yourself? By what right are you criticizing Israel? Okay? So let's talk about minorities. You've got your Kurdish minority, and maybe you regard them as citizens, but you're trying to erase their culture. I want to remind also that the Kurdish minority is not really a minority. There are 30 million people, and they don't have their own state. I don't understand why Turkey is so frightened of the Kurdish people. Why they don't let them establish their own state in another country. They occupy and they murder. And Mr. Erdogan, you have the nerve to lecture. Let's recall how the UN stated facts of the UN. According to the UN, more than 2 million Kurds in eastern Turkey have become refugees. Nearly 30,000 people were killed. So you turn 2 million Kurds refugees into refugees, and you kill 30,000 Kurds. So how do you have the nerve? How do you have the nerve to lecture Israel? Who are you to lecture Israel? And I want to finish. Let's say that you have all sorts of plot that you call them legitimate criticism towards Israel. So let me rise the subject that I will call legitimate criticism. And by the way, you're always welcome to request the dignified Jewish judge Richard Goldstone to investigate and decide what really happened on the events that I'm going to talk about now. According to many historians, in April 1915, during the First World War, you, the Ottomans, had destroyed between 8,000, you have killed, murdered, ratzachtem in Hebrew, murdered 800,000 to 1.5 million Armenians. You know, Erdogan, historians like my father, who lived during the Armenian Holocaust, say that Hitler did the Jewish Holocaust because he said, like in the Armenian Holocaust, no one will remember, no one will ask, no one will talk. So I want to ask you, Erdogan, why do you feel so bad while we criticize the things that you maybe, but you did, nearly a century ago? Maybe give Judge Richard Goldstone to investigate what happened with the Armenians? Maybe, Erdogan, you are so you feel so uncomfortable speaking about that because maybe in your family, someone, maybe your grandfather or your grand-grandfather had killed some Armenians, or your foreign minister, maybe he was involved, his family was involved. Why you, Erdogan, feel so bad about it? So please, Mr. Erdogan, if you don't like to get criticized, stop criticizing the Jewish people. We, the Jewish people, are defending ourselves, and we are defending ourselves for the right to live in a Jewish state and not to be murdered like you murdered the Armenians.